Welcome to Thursday. It is day 2 of not knowing, and I know that puts everybody into a stressful situation. Who's going to be our president? We don't know. It's coming down to what happens in Nevada. And, this is something that is of intrigue to me because there are a lot of people that are completely up in arms concerning these things, whether they're frustrated because we can't get the count fast enough, or we are falling into the trap of thinking that, well, then somebody's cheating and somebody's doing this and somebody's doing that. And I think that what happens so often in our Christian life is that we lose focus on what is the purpose. We lose focus on what's going on. I was reading something even today, and I'm reading several people's comments here and there on social media, and I get the idea that each, specifically one particular group, is posting as if to say that God is all for Trump. That's that the Christian vote is Donald Trump, and I think that we need to be careful because, in fact, I even read one thing that said God casts the final vote, and I know what they're trying to say, that God is in control. God ultimately is in control, and I do agree with that. But we have to be careful that we don't manipulate these things in such a way that make it sound like God only loves you if you voted this certain way, because that's not true. God loves everybody. Jesus died for everybody. He didn't just die for the Republicans. Just because the Christian church movement has embraced the Republican Party in such a way as to make it just very difficult to swallow at times, that we don't need to think that God is casting a vote, and he doesn't do that. Is he in control? Yes. Does he know what's going to happen? Yes. But let's not be so myopic to think that as America goes, so does the rest of the world. Or we don't need to think that as, the vote goes, I don't know. I just think we have to be careful because it's not about the political party. God's not concerned about your political party. Not really. He's concerned about your heart. He's concerned about your obedience. He's concerned about your faithfulness to him. And if we get all kinds of tied up, and I see people arguing all the time right now, arguing all the time about things that in the eternal perspective don't really make a difference. I mean, let's be honest. Many of us want to believe, hey, whoever sits in the seat of power of the presidency, it's a make or break year. Not really. I mean, not really, if you think about it. You have two other portions of legislation out there. You have the House and you have the Senate. You have a three-tiered leadership style. This is the way it was set up in the Constitution. And honestly, the president has the least amount of power. We should be far more concerned about the Senate than we are about the presidency, because really the Senate's the one who makes the larger decisions. And in our current life and our current moment, the Supreme Court has much more power than it ever really has. And maybe it even has taken on power to decide things that's really outside of their scope. But not the point. The point is, how do we as Christians respond in this moment? How does the church respond in this moment? Because, and I'm beating a tired drum here, but I don't think we all understand it yet. In fact, I've read your Facebook and your social media posts. We don't understand it yet. Here's the deal. As a Christian, we follow Christ. We don't follow a political party. Let me say that again. As a Christian, we follow Christ, not a political party. Period. End of story. Because I say that for this reason. If you, as a Democrat, can't have a relationship with a Republican and you call yourself a Christian, you're not following Jesus. You're following a political party. If you as a Republican cannot have a relationship with a Democrat and you call yourself a Christian, you're not following Jesus. You're following a political party. And moreover, you're following an ideology that you are accustomed to, and you follow an ideology that you're familiar with, and you follow an ideology that you think is a biblically based ideology. And the reality is Republicans and Democrats, neither one have an honest and true biblical ideology. The Bible has a biblical ideology. A political platform does not have a biblical ideology. It does not mean that Christians cannot be involved in politics. It's not what it means. It doesn't mean that Christians should stay out. Christians should be involved in politics. I simply think the church should not. I think you as a follower of Christ and a citizen of the United States have every right and ought to be involved in politics. However, let's not blur the line so much that somebody knows your political persuasion before they know your Jesus. This is the problem. This is the problem, that we are far too often blurring this line. We are using biblical terms, and we're using biblical phraseology, and we're using scriptural placements, and we're blurring that, and we're mixing it with our political persuasion. And that, my friends, is a dangerous recipe, because what it says and what is happening is that we as Christians are also causing a further divide in this country. We're causing a divide in this country. When Jesus calls us to be peacemakers, we're peace breakers. When Jesus calls us to have mercy, we have hate. We have all of these other negative things going on. We're not bridging the gaps. This is what we're called to do. We're burning bridges instead of building bridges. And we have to be careful that we don't blur that line so much so that we burn all of the bridges for evangelism. You said, well, what do you mean by that? Well, in our reading today, if you're on the reading plan with us, fbccrowley.org, click on the links button, and you can find the Bible reading plan. If you're on the reading plan with us, then as a part of your reading, it was my reading today. You may be on a different weekly kind of schedule, but in my reading today is Hebrews chapter 12. And Hebrews chapter 12 has a very interesting verse that I think is important for us to hear today. And here it is. Hebrews chapter 12 and verse 14. Pursue peace with everyone and holiness. Without it, no one will see the Lord. Pursue peace with everyone. Now, if you want to contextualize that, he didn't say pursue peace with the Romans. He didn't say, well, pursue peace with the Jews. He didn't say pursue peace with whoever's in charge of, no, he said pursue peace with who? With everyone. In other words, we as followers of Christ have a higher mandate. We have a higher purpose, and it supersedes our political persuasions. It supersedes our own issues. It supersedes our own desires. You want a particular person to sit in a particular office in this country. Great. Don't let us lose sight of Jesus trying to make that happen. Don't burn the bridges in order to make that happen. Because we see this in politics, and we don't need to see it in Christianity. We see this. You know, you had the nomination of Judge Barrett, and now you've got people on the other side of the aisle, you know, talking about illegitimacy and talking about all these other things. Hey, look, we all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. That does not mean a particular party. It's everybody. We all have sinned. We have all fallen short of the glory of God. None of us are perfect. Not one of us is perfect. And the candidate for which you voted isn't perfect. And the party for which you are aligning yourself isn't perfect. There is not a perfect person. There is not a perfect political party. We're all broken, in need of a savior. and that's Jesus Christ. Now, I asked this question to my Republican friends because one of my Republican friends posted that in essence that that just trust God and we're going to get Donald Trump back in the office. Just trust God because Arizona's got this going on and Nevada's got this going on. And we're still counting votes here, there, and on. And basically, and so I posed the question, and I posed the question here: what if it's God's position that Biden should be president? Oh my gosh! People are going to lose their minds. Most of my church friends are going to lose their minds. I'm going to lose friends over this deal, and I don't care. Because the real question is this: are you going to trust God regardless of who's in the office? It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Put Trump in the office, we're still a broken nation. Put Biden in the office, we're still a broken nation. Put an independent in the office, we're still a broken nation. It doesn't matter. Without Jesus, it doesn't matter. So we must come back to Hebrews 12:14. And it says, pursue peace with everybody. Pursue peace. Somebody needs to understand that on their social media platforms. A whole lot of people need to understand that. We need to pursue peace. Stop stirring the pot. Stop stirring the pot politically. Stop stirring the pot in your churches. Stop stirring the pot with your leadership. Stop stirring the pot with other people that sit on the other side of the church from you. Stop stirring the pot generationally, because you know what? It's not that the old people are right and the young people are wrong. And it's not that the young people are right and the old people are wrong. We're all broken, in need of a Savior. Let us remember that it's Jesus. That's our pursue peace. Pursue peace. How long has it been since you have been actively pursuing peace with everyone? How long? How long has it been? I can tell you that in this political cycle, I haven't seen anybody pursuing peace. I don't see it. I see people putting out their opinion and hating people who disagree with them. This is wrong. This is unbiblical. It is unchristian. As a follower of Christ, this is what we are to do. Pursue peace. We can disagree, but pursue peace in the process. If in the way that you disagree with somebody, it causes them to miss out on seeing Jesus in you, then you and I are at fault. We are called to pursue peace and holiness. And holiness in the way you present yourself. Are you presenting yourself peacefully and with holiness? Or do we attack people online? Do we press people online? Do we do all of these things? And it's wrong. This is not how we're supposed to be. This is not the Christian way. This is the cultural way. But this is not the Christian way. This is the way of the world, not the way of Christ. Oh, preacher, you just don't seem to understand. We've got to get our voice. Yes, you do. Yes, get your voice out there and be the voice of Jesus. Because our world doesn't need Republicans and Democrats. Our world needs Jesus. Because when Revelation comes to pass and all this stuff blows up in our face, guess who's not going to be standing? Political parties. You know who's going to be standing? Jesus. And I'm going to stand with Jesus. Now, did I have a vote to make? Absolutely. Did I make a vote? Absolutely. I cast my ballot and I read through every name and I cast my ballot, just like everyone should. But at the end of the day, it's more about Jesus and less about that. Let's be about Jesus. If we want to restore hope, if we want to see the change that we want to see in our country and in our community, it's not going to be about our political fightings. It's going to be pursue peace and holiness. Why? Because if we don't, who's going to see Jesus? Who's going to see Jesus if we don't do this? This is the critical component. We must be revealing to our world and our community and our county today. We've got to be showing Jesus. Jesus isn't red and Jesus isn't blue and Jesus isn't an independent. Jesus is Jesus. Let's stop the fightings and just pursue peace and holiness so our world can see Jesus. This is what we're supposed to do. And when we lose sight of this is when we get into trouble. We've lost sight of what we're supposed to be doing as a Christian and as a church. A friend of mine the other day said that they are really having a bad taste in their mouth concerning Christianity. And you know what? I can imagine why. Because we've been raised to fight politically. Instead of fighting for Jesus, we're fighting politically. You know what, Mike? That's a great statement. Most of us are peace-loving, but we aren't peacemakers. Hey, we want peace, but only if it's in my political party. If my political party gets in charge, then we're going to have peace and then I'm going to love it. But the question remains, what if it's God's perspective that the person that you hate is the one he wants in the office? My blue friends they want Biden in the office, but what if it's Trump? And my Trump-loving friends, what if it's God's viewpoint that Biden needs to be in the office? Could you follow God if your person doesn't get in the office? And here's another intriguing question. How many bridges have you burned relationally in this political cycle that if your person doesn't get in the office, you can't be a friend with them anymore? That's unacceptable. Just unacceptable. We can't do that. That can't be in the Christian heart. That cannot be in the Christian way. That cannot be, because we are to pursue peace with everyone and holiness. This is the call of our life. Stop worrying about things you cannot control anymore. Stop being overly concerned because, our country is going to do what our country wants to do. But does your neighbor know Jesus? Does your neighbor understand this? I mean, look at what he continues to say. Make sure no one falls short of the grace of God and that no root of bitterness springs up, causing trouble and defiling many. I'm in a series called Frenemies, and I invite you to join us on Sunday online on campus as we talk about frenemies. And this week, we're talking about disrespect. Last week, we talked about defilement. And isn't it intriguing that right here in verse 15 of Hebrews 12, that we are to let no root of bitterness spring up that causes trouble and defiles people? Has what you have said recently, is it causing bitterness? Is what you're putting out there on social media, is it causing bitterness? Is it just raising anger among people? Stop putting those teasers out there and wondering why you get so much hate. Stop it. Let's show Jesus. Now, I don't want us to do all this watered down, this stuff of, we just put out no, you follow Jesus. You talk about Jesus. You live for Jesus. In fact, I think that if they could see Jesus in us, we could speak about Jesus more effectively. But the problem is, church, they don't see Jesus in us. We talk about Jesus. But do we show it? Do we show him? Do we reveal him? This, my friends, is the way of Christ. Don't let anybody fall short of grace. Heaven forbid that somebody falls short of grace because they simply sit on the other side of my political aisle. May it never be. May it never be. Make sure that there isn't any immoral or irreverent person like Esau who sold his birthright in exchange for a single meal. This is disrespect. We cannot have disrespect. And I'm going to unpack that more this Sunday. So join me again for Frenemies as we talk about disrespectful people and how do you handle disrespectful people. I have seen way too much disrespect on social media. Well, they disagree with me and Aaron, you don't understand all the things. I don't care. Be Jesus. Seek peace. Pursue it. Chase after it. But don't be disrespectful. Everybody has an opinion. Absolutely true. And so do you. So do I. But in the sharing of that opinion, if I lose the opportunity for them to see Jesus simply because of the way I share my opinion, the methodology, then I'm at fault. May our methods be Jesus-like. May we have mercy like Jesus. May we chase peace. Oh, well, Jesus divided the kingdom because, he said brother against brother and father, I get it. But you know what? It wasn't the way he did it. It's just that he did it. If you live for Jesus and people hate you for it, hey, get in line. But don't let the way you go about it be the automatic reason why they hate you. Pursue peace with everyone in holiness. Otherwise, how will they ever see Jesus? And you know what? You can do that regardless of who's running the country. Have a great Thursday. Keep praying. Keep pursuing peace. I'll see you on Sunday. Y'all have a great day.